Welcome back, everybody, to We Talk Film. I'm your host, Barry, joined by Clayton, as always, in all his 10-bit glory at this point in time. But the audio sounds fine, so we'll work with that.
Oh, that's great. That's the main thing. Sorry, YouTube audience. Today, you're just going to have to put up with me being a Minecraft character.
Yep.
Discord.
He is Steve.
Oh, man. We cannot do one single episode without something going wrong, playing up, or just, I don't know, falling to bits on screen.
Yep.
Oh, but speaking of falling to bits, we've got some news. So, Barry, chuck us on over to the newsroom.
On to the newsroom.
Very cool. Okay. This week, this is the greatest news I've ever heard. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 has cast Shadow the Hedgehog, and it's none other than Keanu Reeves voicing the character.
Yahoo!
It's an appropriate
It's
response.
kind of funny. It's funny.
It is very funny.
Because obviously in the first Sonic film, he was watching Speed and he was like, I'm Keanu Reeves' biggest fan. And they've actually got Keanu Reeves to voice Shadow now.
Which I assume Shadow's the villain of this one then, right? Because
you would think
when they introduced Shadow, he was a villain. So that would be very funny. And I wonder if they're going to joke about the fact that it's Keanu Reeves, or they're just going to leave that up in the air.
They're just going to leave it. They're just going to leave it up in the air. Same thing as like funny. Iron Man and the Big Lebowski with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, next story. Did you know we're getting a Martin Scorsese biopic about Frank Sinatra?
Oh.
That's in the works.
Okay.
Leonardo DiCaprio playing the titular character. I'm unsure if he's going to sing or if he can sing, especially like Sinatra. I feel like that's very hard to do.
That would be very hard to do, but
a Scorsese biopic about Sinatra would be really cool. I'm all for that idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if DiCaprio is the right person for it, but I guess we'll see.
We'll see what happens, you know. Isn't he doing like his Jesus film first though? Then that
He's doing that as well, I think. He's doing like 7 films at once. I am unsure.
He's probably just like, I want to do all of them before I die. That is his goal.
I mean, fair, I don't blame him. They all sound like good ideas, and I'm gonna watch them all. So sure, just keep making movies, Scorsese. We'll watch them here. Okay, next thing that's in the works is we're getting an Old Boy television series based off of the Korean film, like the greatest Korean film ever made. From the same director.
Okay.
So it's Park Chan-wook. But it's an English language adaptation, so I'm unsure if this is gonna just do it for the sake of doing a Hollywood version. But they already tried that. I don't know where this is needed or where this fits. It could be cool.
Well, that's the thing, because wasn't like the place that he like stayed at or whatever, like wasn't there more rooms? I can't remember.
It was, like, but it's
so maybe it's more upon that.
Maybe it's supposed to be just an adaptation of that film, so I'm unsure why.
They just go into more detail about it. They're just like, it's been what, like 20 years since he made that. Let's redo it again. But as a TV show now.
I don't know if it works. It feels weird because the movie was so perfect. I don't know if we need this, but who knows? It's the same guy, so like. Sure, he's just
we'll see what happens.
Do more. I don't know. It could be cool. Okay, next story. Quentin Tarantino has announced he's abandoning the movie critic, which was supposed to be his 10th and final film. He's just decided he doesn't want to do that anymore, and he's going back to the drawing board for ideas for what his last movie will be. That's so surprising, considering he was into casting for it. Like, he must have been happy with it up until that point. It's very weird to drop it at that state, considering this is like his decision.
Yeah, didn't they confirm like Brad Pitt was starring as the character?
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, okay. I thought this was like already meant to be filming if you've already casted your main character.
Yeah, very weird. Well, you'd think, they'd be doing like screen tests and working on locations and stuff and everything at that point. It's such a weird thing to do, but I guess he just didn't like it. I mean, he's done.
Yeah,
it's Quentin Tarantino. If anyone's going to cancel a movie and we're okay with it, I guess it's him.
Yeah.
Sure, dude. Do something
So yeah,
better.
he's
I
gonna
don't know.
cancel it now. He's gonna wait another 10 years to release his final film. That's what's gonna happen.
It's gonna take him 10 more years to write something. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Speaking of movies that people want to make, great transition there. Okay, X-Men '97, a show that we're loving at the moment. The creators, the directors, have revealed their dream would be to follow it up with a movie after they've done the show. Is to
Ooh.
do like a Spider-Verse or Spider-Verse
Yep, yep.
inspired film to cap the series off. That's their dream. They're unsure if it will happen, but they say that, the entire team wants to do this. They use the quote 7 seasons as a movie as what they want for this show. So
Yep,
it
yep.
seems like they've got a lot planned, and I'm all for more X-Men.
Yeah, well,
It'll be
especially with the
great.
rate they're going at the moment. So, that'd be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
then again, like what are Disney planning to do with the live action Marvel stuff? Mutant
Uh,
like X-Men stuff? We don't know yet. So
at this point, I don't care. As long as they're making more X-Men '97, sure. At least we're getting good X-Men content. Even if
yeah,
MCU
yeah.
X-Men sucks and this keeps going, it's like, okay, we've still got this good shit alongside it,
Yep.
which is cool. Okay, next up, we got another announcement. Fallout, which we'll get back to, is getting a second season already. 1 week after its premiere, they
Yippee!
announced that yeah, second season has been renewed.
Yep.
Everyone's loving it. That's spoilers for the rest of this episode, by the way, but keep that in mind. Okay. A couple more stories. Marvel news. Shang-Chi 2 confirmed to be still happening. That's all we know
Okay.
about that. Sure, okay. First
Cool.
one was
I
cool.
can't remember what happened to the first one. But yeah.
Um, I liked it. It
Big
had some
dragon.
cool
Big
moments.
dragon.
It did have a
And
big
I had a
dragon.
big dragon.
It did. Okay. Also, something else that's getting technically a sequel, even though it's not out yet. Daredevil Born Again. It has 2 seasons planned, and that's it.
Oh.
They
Okay.
confirmed that they only want it to do 2 seasons, and that's when it will end. So
Yep.
that is good because that means they have a start and a finish for that show, which hopefully means the entire thing is good. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're going to tie it into the movies and all that type of stuff. He's probably going to get his standalone film as well, and it's going to be a whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. I know Marvel, but that's
Yeah.
that. Okay. So another some more news in terms of just what's coming up. Netflix announces The Witcher is going to end after season 5.
It's
It's
already ended. It doesn't
probably
count anymore. It doesn't count
yeah.
when you swap your main actor out.
Yeah, so season 4 is currently in production with Liam Hemsworth replacing Henry Cavill. The fact that they're only saying season 5 and then that's it is not good because if anyone would continue a show forever, it's Netflix.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I already had low expectations for it, but that's just kind of dropped them even more.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Moving away. Okay. Next, 2 stories. Next one. Invincible. It has been renewed for seasons 4 and 5, and season 3 is way into production. That's great to hear.
Yeah. That is good deal.
Very good. Obviously, we check out last week's episode to hear our
Yep.
reviews
Where we
on the
talked
second
about it
half.
all.
Season
Big
2.
things are coming to
Big
Invincible.
things are
Stuff
coming.
I'm looking forward to. He gets a new suit. Spoilers.
He does.
He gets
And we
multiple
love it
new
all.
suits. So
Yeah, well, superhero thing. They all do that. But yeah, we're loving it so much. So again, more is better. If more of something good, definitely yes.
yep.
Only yeses. So that's cool. Okay, and then wacky story. Inside Out 2, I mentioned that's coming out later in the year. If I had to ask you what you think the main inspiration for that film would be, what would you think it would be? Like if there was one film that this sequel to Inside Out is taking inspiration from and is like a huge part of it, what do you think it is?
I'm
What
trying
would
to
you
think
think?
of a movie like Mean Girls or something like that.
You reckon? Okay, is that your
Something along those
final answer?
lines.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. You're wrong. According to the directors of Inside Out 2, the main inspiration is Uncut Gems, the Adam Sandler film.
Okay. What? How?
They didn't elaborate.
Okay. Yes, our
I
main
don't know.
inspiration was we got to use uncut gems. You mean the Adam Sandler one? Yes, about bookieing and gems and illegal shit and everything.
Yeah.
So does Riley like want to become a bookkeeper, a bookie?
Yes. I don't know. I am unsure what that
She wants to
exactly means.
uncut gems. She's gonna be a Julie person.
I assume it's to do with like the intense emotions that they're gonna go into. Like
She dies in the end.
the drama. I don't know.
Spoilers.
Maybe Pixar's done worse. I don't know, but the quote has gotten me kind of hyped for it. I was
Yeah.
kind of indifferent with the first Inside Out. I thought it was fun for modern Pixar, but it wasn't anything too
Yep.
special. So maybe the sequel can follow it up and just blow that one out of the water, which is again very
Yeah.
unheard of for like a Pixar sequel. I can't name another that has.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But that brings us to the end of the news. Barry, run us through what's happening today.
Okay, so yes, today we are going to be talking about Fallout. Obviously, it's the number one show everywhere at the moment. Everyone's watching it. Everyone's gone back playing the video games at the moment. It is absolute Fallout monium, pandemonium.
Mania?
No,
Endemonium?
mania. There we go. Fallout mania at the moment. Everyone's loving it. Here's a clip.
What is happening here?
Everyone wants to save the world. They disagree on how.
There you are, you little killer.
So yes, that is Fallout. This show very unexpected in how it
Yeah.
presented itself. I was very unsure about this. Do you want to get into like your first discussions and then we'll go like try to go episode by episode and
Sure.
go
All
from
right.
there?
Yeah, like you said, going into this show, obviously coming off of the trailers and all the news and everything, I thought this was going to be terrible. I thought this was going to be like the Halo show or,
Oh
even
yes.
slightly better. I had no hope for this show at all. And then going into the first episode, within 10 minutes, I was hooked. This show has managed to capture everything that makes the game special and put it into this
Yep.
8-episode series and still have it be its own unique thing, just as well done as something like Fallout 4. Like, I enjoyed every single step of the way of this show, and I'm very pleasantly surprised. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting on it right now, Barry.
Oh yeah, no, especially like yeah, a lot of people were very cautious going to. They're gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be like Halo again. It's another video game adaptation done with a big studio, and it's only gonna be like a cash grab type thing. But no, I was also pleasantly unexpected, and have watched the season now twice over the past
Really?
week.
Oh, wow.
That is how much I enjoy this show so much. Like it is absolutely perfect in my opinion. Well, there's a few things in a few ways that it's not.
It's
We'll get into that.
not
We'll get
quite
into each
perfect.
episode. Not quite
It's
perfect,
close.
but it's close. It's definitely like a step in the right direction. Yeah, I didn't think like
Definitely.
a Fallout live action show would like translate well in certain
No,
aspects and stuff
no.
like that. But the creators got this down where it just feels like more Fallout.
It
And
feels
it's
like you're
just like
playing the game.
how
You're
yeah,
watching the game,
like
dude.
it is great. So we'll start with the first episode, which is
Yes.
called The End, which basically starts with Lucy in little Vault 33, going around. Well, first of all, before that, we
Yeah,
obviously
we have
do
the cool
see
intro
the
segment.
the cool intro sequence with Walter Gargans, who is the standout of this show. Like
Oh,
he's
definitely.
best addition to the show.
So good.
Where we obviously see the reality of what Fallout is of their modern times of when the bombs went off and everything like that. There's a little party there and it introduces Walter Goggins' character, but we're not 100% sure like who he is as of yet. And then we see the bombs go off as we do in Fallout 4.
Boom, boom.
All of
Yeah.
them, the war going off. Then it goes to the vault, which is Vault 33, which is where we see Lucy McLean.
McLean? Yeah, I think it's McLean. It's not quite like McLean. It was McLean. I think there was an E in there.
And then we obviously see how they're living. We got her father, who is the overseer, Hank. We have her brother, Norm, and all the other
Yep.
people of Vault 33 going about their humble lives and everything like that.
Yeah.
And obviously they're doing like a whole marriage thing because she's on the list to get married to the other Vault. And then it's a whole thing. And it's like, that's how they vote, to stop the inbreeding, stop the weird cousin stuff, as so they say.
Funny. I was like, obviously that's something that people think about. Being locked in a room with like 30 people for the 200 years, yeah, you can't really escape that. So then the fact that the show jokes about it so openly was really funny.
Yep.
The show itself pokes fun at Fallout in the way that Fallout does, which is the best way to do it. It's making fun of the silliness that's going on in such a way that also embraces it. I love it. I'm loving everything about this show so far. It's great.
Oh yeah, no, it was absolutely great. Like seeing the little like nods to everything, and that's the thing because the most recent Fallout game I've played is obviously Fallout 4, which I played like hundreds of hours of and everything like that. And like I've played all the other ones. It seems like New Vegas is like still my favorite. But it was it was nice seeing those nods to like things that were familiar, and they were just like playing with it. Even the way the Vault Dwellers are is like how you would think a Vault Dweller would be. In a way, like they're very much like the characters in the game type thing that they're not experienced like in the outside world, and it's just it's absolutely like perfect. So obviously that happens. They go for like the marriage thing. Turns out Vault 32 got
the neighbors
raided. The neighbors all got wiped out, but they turned out they were raiders. And then they started ransacking the place and killing the Vault Dwellers of Vault 33 just after the marriage, and they're all dying and everything like that. And obviously they defend themselves. They attack back, kill majority of them, and put the others in prison. That's a whole other side thing. But obviously during that time, Hank, the overseer, Lucy's father, gets kidnapped by a mysterious lady.
Oh no!
Well, Moldova. Moldova.
It was something like that. I don't know. The Maldives.
Maldives. Lee Moldova. Dava. Something. Yeah, she gets kidnapped. Well, he gets taken, and then the explosion goes off, and then Lucy's just like, "What do I do?" She's like, "I have to go outside."
Dun, dun, dun. Not outside.
All right, and then during all that episode, we're also introduced to Magnus, who is a recruit. Maximus. Where did I get Magnus from?
I don't know.
Who is a cadet at the Brotherhood of Steel training camp?
Yeah, very fun.
He's a little squire dude. He's there doing a thing. He does some stuff. I can't remember what he does in this first episode.
Not much. He gets his ass kicked.
Not much.
That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I will say that this first episode, at least the start of this show, if you didn't play the games, and you would probably be lost. At least like 50% lost. I think there was a little bit here, but I do think that it's definitely something that you need some prior knowledge of going into, rather than just jumping into this blind, because it skips over explaining like the vaults or like the war itself. It's just kind of nukes go off. Now we're in a wasteland, which is great for the people that did play the game because it throws everyone straight into it. And that seems to be where a lot of the praise is coming from. The fact that it's not really holding your hand. It's like, this is for the people that love the games.
Yeah.
As any good adaptation should be. But this first episode threw me straight into it. The scene where the vault door opens, which is where Lucy's at right now, was straight out of like Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. The music swelling and the door sliding out and rolling open, everything being white and overblown.
Dun, 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 dun.
I was just like, oh my god, that was so cool. It took me right back to like 2010 when I picked up Fallout 3 for the first time. Got the Game of the Year edition on PlayStation 3, knowing nothing about it, firing it up, playing through hundreds of hours over and over, and it threw me right back to that moment. That's just how well this show is adapting the source material, and I cannot praise it enough. Oh, I love it, Barry. So what happens after we get out into the wasteland?
Yeah, so basically, out in the wasteland, we are then introduced to Wilzig, who is this kind of weird, wacky professor guy.
Oh yeah,
And
him.
everything like that. This is the whole like where we find
head
out what
guy.
the dog is, where dog meat comes from, and everything like that. That was kind of strange because that's the thing. In every single Fallout game, every single Fallout game, because obviously they like take place at different times and everything like that. There has always been a dog. It has been like different breeds at times, but there always has been a dog, and it's always been dog meat type thing. And a lot of people were very like, "Oh, is this actually like the dog meat that they've been showcasing in the trailers and stuff like that?" It's not like really named until like one of the later episodes by the ghoul. That like he just calls it dog meat type thing. I think that's obviously the closest reference we're gonna get until he starts calling it that. But we find out like Wilzig is working for a secret society,
the Enclave.
the Enclave, where there's a cold fusion, essentially. And like, what's going to be the way to power the wasteland? And it's a whole thing. And he basically, at the same time, they're testing these dogs and training these dogs or whatever to be like the best of the best dogs to use out the wasteland. It's a whole thing. He then kidnaps one because it wasn't like that good enough. He then trains it and everything like that, and that becomes obviously our dog meat for the show. But at the same time, he's working the cold fusion. He injects the little thing into his head so other people can't, the Enclave can't get it. And then he makes an escape for it after murdering a guy. And then you have the most shittest auto turret ever, which they are in the game as well, and doesn't even hit him, even though it's aiming right at him, which is
funny.
so great. Which was so funny. I'm just like, that is such Fallout.
So stupid, but it wouldn't work in anything other than Fallout. Because if you play the Fallout games, that's the same sort of thing that happens. Is you're gonna get shot at like hundreds of times and it's just gonna miss you. Or it's not gonna do anything. It's great. So it works with this circumstance of Fallout is like a silly video game. Whereas any other show it wouldn't. So quite a lot of this show, there are some stupid things like that.
Yes.
Are great if you play the games and you understand it, but if you're watching this show without any of that prior knowledge, you're going, why did that not hit him? I know my brother was like, that is the stupidest turret ever. That was what? Like, what was the point of that? And I'm like, what do you mean? You've played the game. You know what this is. But yeah, I will say the only thing that it was missing is it did not crash to the desktop once. It was that was not quite faithful.
No, just like a desktop screen comes up. Like, that
would be hilarious. If an episode ended with like a fake crash, that would have been amazing.
Yeah. I also forgot as well in the first episode, we are also introduced to the character of the Ghoul, as well, where he have his old uprising, his old nightmare scene, where basically he was buried in a coffin, and these guys have to resurrect him and everything like that. Because basically, ghouls are like these undying beings, and you got like feral ghouls, or you got ghouls that still talk and kind of human-like. Where the Ghoul is obviously one of them. And he gets resurrected like a real cowboy, Jonah Hex style in a way, and like kills all these guys in the best way possible. And it's like so good. And then so still on the second episode, we have Lucy. She's out in the wasteland, and she's sitting in the fire one night where the professor guy just like is sitting there with the dog, and he's just like, "What are you doing out here, Vault Dweller? Go back to your vault," type thing. Like this isn't the place for you.
Funny.
Like all Vault Dwellers die essentially, but she's like, "No, I need to find my father." And then obviously they all come to the city of I forgot what it's called. Philly. That's right.
Yeah, with an F.
Yeah.
So basically,
everyone
now. Everyone's converging around the central scientist figure. They all basically want
everyone's trying to find him. There's a bounty on his head. All these things.
The Brotherhood of Steel want him. The Cowboy wants him. Everyone's just converging around this one thing. Was one MacGuffin, which is this dude's head. Which obviously leads to Philly, where they all meet up, and we get like what was probably one of the coolest action sequences in the show. Where we see the cowboy let loose, and then they all fight each other. Everyone fights everyone. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ghoul definitely has VATs for sure.
I think he does, and that's fine. Again, that's another thing with this show is it has those moments of the hero character stands there, shoots everyone before he gets shot. But that also fits with the game, so it's you can't even fault it for that because it like this works in this world. It's it's so hard to nitpick little things like that because it works in the game and it works in the show because of that. I love that. It feels so good.
So yeah, and the other thing as well that this game show does so well. Sorry, it's the same thing.
I'm confused because they're so both just good.
Yeah. Like it does these like cinematic shots of like the world or whatever. Yeah. Like it would just like go all the way back. It would do like a drone shot or anything like that. And like congrats to the visual effects guys behind the show. Like doing shots like that and like seeing the world that the way it is all destroyed and everything is so like cool looking at times. And a lot of the sets as well, they're like these big practical sets and they're kind of like bringing them together. Obviously, there are times where you can see they did go like cut their cost on a few visual effects things. But then there's like other episodes where it's like really good. And you're just like, okay, that's cool. Like they've got that rhythm going, but it's just, some of those shots where she's just like walking across the wasteland and stuff like that. There's just nothing around. It's just like, wow, like they actually take the time just to do that. And it makes you feel more like the world as well, like how it is and everything. When like shows and stuff do that, it's like, oh, so this is like what they're living in and everything like that, and this is how the world is. So obviously definitely. I feel like there's a big shoot down and everything like that. They're trying to get the professor. The ghoul's trying to get the professor. He kills like 20 guys.
At least.
Takes a whole bunch of pills and everything like that. Then Lucy tries to shoot him as well with more pills. And then he's like, that doesn't work because he's already filled with drugs.
That's right.
Well, at the same time, the doc guy gets shot where he gets his foot blown off and he's bleeding out everywhere. They put like a big stim boot arm kit thing on him. Then Maximus comes in wearing the armor that he stole from the knight in the first episode. And everything, being like, oh yeah, I can do this. If I get the guy's head, the Brotherhood of Steel will forgive me for what I've done and everything like that. And then they have a big fight, big showdown against one another. And then he gets caught because he doesn't know how to use the power armor properly. And the ghoul is just like, ha 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 ha, and then like destroys his power armor. So then he goes flying around like Iron Man style. Yeah. That was funny.
And that moment there is probably the worst moment of CGI in the show, I feel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all of the movement of the power armor flying around did not look good. Obviously nowhere near as good as some of the background shots looked. Yeah, some moments like that do take you out. The show is very far from perfect, but it's like it's fine. Like the show itself is good enough that I'm like willing to forgive moments like that. So obviously we go from there. Lucy gets tasked with taking the Enclave scientist to go meet whatever her name was, Moldova Miradabova or whatever her name was, because she is also after him or the thing in his head.
And that's where he's trying to go as well. Like give it to her.
That's where he's going. That's where we're converging. But he unfortunately was like, yeah, I'm not making it that far. Takes a cyanide pill and then gives Lucy a chainsaw and says, "Chop my head off."
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's funny. And then she does. She has to. She takes the head.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's easier to carry than an entire body. But I think that's where the second episode ends off. I think.
Yep. Then over to the third episode. I'm trying to read off my like IMDb. Their descriptions are not like done yet, so it's like a little like just a one word thing. Like the Wasteland's got its own golden rule. Basically she's still continuing the way and everything like that. She's comes across like this little like river area, and then axolotl like weird creature combination. I forget what they're called. Comes out.
It was a golfer.
Gets her.
I think.
Yeah. And basically eats the head of the guy. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, that's an issue. And then the ghoul catches up with her, finally, and uses her as bait to try and get the head.
That was so
that
funny.
was a whole sequence as well, and it's like her first introduction to like the ghoul character, like up close and personal a bit more.
Yeah.
And then basically because the ghoul he needs like obviously medication to keep him from going feral and everything like that. During those events, his medication gets destroyed, and he's like, God damn it! And then there's this whole thing where basically they just give up on the head and goes to do some other goes to
Who's
get
on a side
medication.
quest.
Yeah.
Which is, again, so funny because he jokes about it. He's saying, like, if there's
Yeah.
anything in the wasteland that's consistent, is that you're going to get sidetracked by bullshit. Which
Yeah.
is a direct nod at the games. Because if you've ever played any Fallout game, you know that the main quest takes forever to do because you're constantly doing other shit. There's always something else that grabs your attention. So this directly parodies that, and I think it was an intentional dig at the game. Would I say dig?
Yeah, yeah.
Thing, but yeah, you know, it it was so fun to see because again, it works in this show where you can have them go on side adventures before the main thing because again, that's the game. Whereas if you
Yep.
look at like The Mandalorian as an example of side quests being annoying and feeling unearned and kind of pointless, like other shows try and do it as well, but it doesn't work. Where it works here, which is again the show playing on the strengths of the fact that it's an adaptation of this video game series, it's really shining home. I loved it.
Yep. And then
Definitely.
obviously during this episode as well is when we started having the flashbacks of
Oh yes,
Walter Goggins' character,
yeah, that's right.
which his real name is revealed to be Cooper Howard. That's right.
Yeah.
Basically he is this
He's the
actor,
boy.
or was this actor and everything. He's the Vault guy. The reason why we have all that in the Vault Boy and everything like that is based upon him, which to me was the most coolest thing ever. Like actually, like they're adding their own lore to all that because it was kind of like you do see later on. When things start to go down, that they try to replace him and everything like that. That's when they came up with the animated guy. But still, like the idea of the Vault Boy was based upon this character. And it's actually like, oh, I would have never expected this in anything from Fallout. Actually, giving like a backstory behind the Vault Boy, like the actual character and where it all started and everything like. Because he was basically their spokesperson, their show guy. I think they were paying him to be like go and do all the vaults and everything like that, and he was their big advertising guy. And then obviously, no, at some point he did become the ghoul, and he's been around for the past couple hundred years. So we have all those flashback moments and everything like that. We see him with his wife, and that all starts to take shape. While also they're trucking across the wasteland with Lucy, and then she basically needs water at one point, and then she just like shows him like irradiated water, and then she's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm just like you. Just give it some time." That was a really good line. We obviously go back to Vault 33 at some point, and now the brother is trying to investigate as to what actually happened with Vault 32 and what's going on with Vault 31. And there's a whole thing starting to form there because he goes to Vault 32 and finds them all like dead, all the people. And he's like asking the raiders as to be like, hey, like what actually happened? And they were like, they're all dead when we got there.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole mystery unfolding. Very scary. Ooh. Oh, and then also Maximus gets Thaddeus as his squire as well.
Oh, and he finds the head too, and the dog. The dog's with him now. The
dog's with him now.
Several people.
Yeah,
it's great.
Dog just goes around.
With the dog keeps getting passed around. The dog's always just off with someone. It's great. I love that. Yeah. So from there, I think that's where that ends because then we go into the next.
Now we go to the ghouls.
Yeah, which is where we get our look at the ghouls, which is very cool because they've been very sparse with the ghouls up until this point. They've taken a while to explain it, and they just kind of had them be there through the ghoul character. But now we get the full look, including the feral ghouls, which was very cool to see.
Yes. So yeah, obviously this episode because he needs his pills and everything like that. So he goes to this place where he's like, "I'll give you like a fresh female type thing," and he gets his pills, his medication and stuff like that. And then we meet Mr. Handy for the first time, voiced by Matt Berry, which is like the perfect voice for that character. I was like, yes, that is great.
It's so well. It fits so well. I loved it. It felt straight out of the games. However they did, I think it
Yeah.
was a mix of like animatronics and CGI to create that.
Yeah,
Or was
yeah,
it
it would have been
entirely
like a mix
CGI?
of. No, it would have been, I think, a combination of both. There was a couple scenes where like the hand looked like it was just an animatronic hand. I think, and probably like there'll be behind the scenes pictures. I would not be surprised.
I'm sure they had practical ones. Like they had practical
I feel
power
like they had
armor.
practical.
Quite a
Yeah,
few.
but basically at this place we find out that they're harvesting people for like money and whoever like turns up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then yes, these two like guys on drugs type thing just sitting there. They control Mr. Handy.
It
And
was
then
so
Lucy's
funny.
just like, no, like this can't be happening. So then she lets all the ghouls free, the ones or all of them. First it starts with the ones that aren't feral, and then she's like, no, all of them. And then it turns out there was more feral ones, and then they just kind of kill everyone.
They do, and she gets away.
Yeah,
has a new gun and a new outfit. She's looking very.
Yes.
This is the point where she's starting to learn how the wasteland works, becoming that
Yep.
survivor. Leveling up, I guess, would be the video game term.
Yep.
Yeah. Where do we go from there, Barry?
From there, there's more stuff going on in Vault 33. Like Norm uncovers a secret. Vault 32 because he brings the other guy,
cousin.
Chet. That's right, Chet, the cousin.
Can't remember.
Linking back to his mother's past and everything, and like raising questions as to like what the residents' fates are, because he goes onto the terminal. He's a hacky guy. He may be short and steady, but he knows how to hack terminals, and we actually see like how you hack a terminal from the video game. See, he actually does
exactly
it.
The same.
That's cool. The exact same way.
I love that.
And basically, yeah, from there, Lucy leaves to go and get the head again. Walter Goggins is sitting there all like not drugged up because he needed these drugs, so he's like turning, and then she leaves a whole bunch of drugs for him. He then goes down and that's next episode. Yeah, so that's the next episode. Next one is Lucy finally finds Magnus, who got left behind by Thaddeus. Maximus. Getting things confused. They got all their names. Because he got into a fight with Thaddeus because he revealed who he was to Thaddeus, being like, "Oh, I'm Maximus," and then he's like, "No," type thing, and then he takes the power core. It's a whole thing. Lucy just finds him there chilling in the power armor suit, and helps him out, gets him out of there, and they finally set on their journey together, being like, "Oh, we both need to find the head. Why don't we try and do it together?" Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Very good. And then where do we go from there?
From there is we find the new division. The sheriff guys. I forget their.
Oh yeah, what were they called?
They find the ghoul, like doped up and everything like that. We're taking you with us, and then they go with him. The new Americans, New Republicans, something like that.
California, the NCR, the New Californian Republic.
No, they're not New Californian. They're some other ones. Yeah.
Wait.
But we also find out in this episode about the New Californian Republic.
That's right.
Because basically,
see them later.
Maximus was there when Shady Shores, which was a big reveal coming from the video games, to there, has been blown up. It is no longer there. And Maximus is actually one of the surviving members of Sadie Shores. And when that happened, because to him, the Great War was that was when the bomb went off, the big nuke went off, was for him. He's like, no, it happened when I was a child type thing. And Lucy was kind of confused by that. But it was actually like, oh no, this is actually like another bomb like went off and destroyed it all.
Separate event.
Everything. Different event. Which then did they go into the vault in this one? Did they? I can't remember.
This is the episodes 44? All blend together because I watched them all back to back, so I could not tell you. Just go from what you think happens. Just go through it all, Barry. You got this.
Yeah. So basically, they go there. They try and get a med kit and everything like that, and then they get trapped and sunk down into Vault 44, which is in the video games, and everything, which was basically like a science research facility and everything like that. And then they have like a whole fancy setup and everything, and being like, no, this is how the world is, and we invite people to come into our world as long as they behave and everything like that. We see Chris Parnell with his one eye. He's a weird like freak guy. And then we find out slowly that all these like freak mutated people like living all there, because they were like obviously the research team, and they all got like bred in with one another, trying to be like the ultimate being, as you do type thing. And like Lucy is just like, this is strange, and like Maximum's like, oh, so this is Vault life, I'm loving it, because they give him a whole like little quarter to himself, and he gets all the fancy foods and everything like that. And then there's like a cult thing that happens, and they all strip naked, and that was a thing I was not expecting.
There's always a cult thing. It's
There's
everything
always
in
a cult thing.
It always turns out to be a weird cult.
We find out is Moldova, who they're following. The fire power lady. I'm like, oh, that's kind of creepy. And then we find out there's like a scene where Lucy goes into their school, which basically shows like the timeline as they know it type thing until that point, which was like Sandy Shores getting bombed, and like the events that happened after that. And to like everyone, obviously, like that is the events that happened. But Lucy's like, no, like there was like 200 years ago event that happened that wiped humanity off the face of the earth, and is the reason why we're all here today and everything like that. Which brings us over to episode 6.
Yeah, nearing the end. It was only 8 episodes.
Nearing the end. Yeah.
Nearing the end.
But still, they're like an hour long, and they're all like exceptionally
over
wonderful.
an hour long.
So this starts off with Walter Goggins' character, Cooper Howard, basically doing a little video promo thing in one of the vaults, being like, buy yourself now today and everything like that, which is so cool. It was actually like nice and black and white and everything, seeing the behind the scenes of it all. And how that's all working. Because then obviously we find out over time that he goes kind of undercover to be like, because his wife works for Vault Tech, being like, oh, actually, these are all the secrets that start to come out. So obviously, Fallout diehard fans know that there is like the law and everything behind Fallout. There's a reason why the vaults got made in the first place, and like, there is actually like they were kind of responsible for the nukes to go off. That the companies that built the vaults and everything like that. They thought they could build a bigger, better society type thing, but it all went horribly wrong. And you find out through a few of the video games and stuff like that's actually like, I think Fallout New Vegas is forget the guy's name, but he was in this, like he's one of the chairman people behind it. He's Mr. Head.
Mr. House. Mr. House.
Yeah, Mr. House.
Yeah.
Type thing. So that's a whole thing that's like starting to come together now. We're starting to find behind the scenes of all that and the reason why they made the vaults and everything. Like Cooper Howard's like, I ain't having it type thing. Well, at the same time, Lucy's like in Vault 44 and being like, oh, you guys are doing weird things with the creature things. This is not right. And she gets incarcerated and they're about to kill her type thing. Well, she thought she was about to go, but she's just being kicked out type thing. Which was so funny. Like it's all this basically like hilarious. She kills a guy, throws acid at a guy, like damages these people, gets captured. And then it's like this whole thing of like, oh, she's actually gonna be like murdered or executed or get her hands chopped off. But no, he just comes out with like a replica sword that's not even sharp and just cuts the rope and be like, oh, you're free to go. Also, here's 2 weeks rations. We just want you out of our vault for breaking the rules. And then obviously Maximus comes in wearing the power armor suit, trying to protect Lucy, just like throwing everyone everywhere. I think he kills a guy. And he obviously stole their power core as well, so all the vaults like dying because all the power's gone out, and it's just absolute chaos. Which is such like a Fallout thing to do.
It's 100% something you could have done in the game.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so what happens from that point, bro?
And then it's just more behind the scenes of like back in the modern time, figuring things out with Ryan Cooper, we meet Bud Askins, the guy behind Vault Tech and everything like that.
Yeah.
He tries to get buddy with Cooper Howard, but Cooper Howard's like, like I don't like you, man. I ain't doing stuff with you. And that's the whole thing. And yeah, mystery. And then
Mystery.
episode 8, the beginning.
Whoa! It ends at the beginning.
It ends at the beginning. Where basically everything comes together, and people die. A lot of people die.
A lot of people die. Correct. Job, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like how this one started off. Wasn't it like they got Maximus and Lucy got the head or whatever?
Yeah.
No, they find Thaddeus with the head. He's at a radio station because Thaddeus got turned into a ghoul, which was the funniest thing ever by like a weird. Oh, that's right. I forgot about the chicken fucker guy. Oh,
him.
We forgot about. So basically, throughout the entire show, every now and again, there's one wacky character that rocks up. We first see him in the first episode where he's basically like beating this guy or whatever, and Maximus tries to like separate it. And the guy's like, no, that guy was trying to fuck my chickens. And then it's like, what?
Then we see him later trying to sell like elixirs and potions. And just snake oil salesman. And then, then he comes back.
And gives one to Thaddeus, being like, "Oh, I can fix your foot," type thing. Turns Thaddeus into a ghoul, essentially. And then basically Thaddeus is like there with the head type thing, trying to shoot at Lucy and Maximus. Obviously doesn't have very high stats, which was the most funniest thing ever because they do make a point of it that the Lucy and Maximus being like type thing, even though he's like shooting so many rounds at him and they're so close as well. And it's like this is so Fallout. I love it.
Well, I do.
Even as well, I want to point out because this is the final episode. One thing they did well, I think, with the characters and the dialogue, especially with Lucy's character, was being like she's a vault dweller. She doesn't know much of the outside world, and just the way she speaks and everything like that is very much like how you would expect someone that's been locked in a vault, like locked away from society and everything like that.
Definitely.
Like it's very much like the video game like characters in a way. Same thing as Maximus as well. Being like the Brotherhood of Steel and everything like that. He's very much like talks like the characters when you meet in Brotherhood of Steel. The only exception to the characters out of all this is Walter Goggins, the Ghoul character. But he just fits right in because he's so goddamn cool. Yeah. It's basically Clint Eastwood in the apocalypse.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it just works.
Anywhere. Of course it works. Yeah. It's amazing. He was my favorite character in the show. Just every time he was on screen, he was saying something like really fun or he was doing something really cool. It was always a joy to watch. But even the other two characters surprised me with how much I liked them as well. With Lucy in particular being the out of water vault dweller, it was amazing. It felt so Fallout that I loved it. And the fact that the characters do get their asses kicked. There's no you're the main character, you're gonna be unscathed throughout the whole show, which is quite common for video game movies adaptations. Is the hero
and that's the
never dies, never gets in trouble. Like Lucy gets her finger cut off, like they're getting stabbed and shot. It's It's so
and
good.
just a stim pack to fix it, which is just like I was wondering how they're gonna do that in the game, like because stim pack fixes everything in the game. They just did it, and it works. It works. Like they fully accept like all the wacky things about Fallout and everything like that, and just been like,
it's great.
Just do it in the show.
That is the only way that this show could have worked. If it went full serious and like tried to have reason and realism for literally every element, the show wouldn't have worked. And then if it went the other way, it would have just been making fun of the source material, which also wouldn't have worked. It's hit dead on in the middle, where this feels like you're just watching someone play Fallout, and I love that. The show hit such a sweet spot that I really cannot wait for continued seasons.
Oh yes. But yeah, obviously going back to episode 8, how it all goes. Lucy ends up getting the head from the guy to go to the lady, what's her name, Moldova, and everything like that. Well, Magnus takes the fall for it, gets a false head, goes to the Brotherhood of Steel and being like, here's the head type thing, and it's not the head because they have the little scan thing to know what it is. And then basically he like worms his way into being like, I know where the head is type thing. I can take you there, which leads to a big giant battle against what is left of the NCR, essentially, or Moldova's version of the NCR, with her little settlement all there and everything like that. And the Brotherhood of Steel are coming in. Lucy's already there. She finally found her dad. And then we find out as to what actually happened at Shady Shores and everything. Turns out her father was the reason why the nuke went off all those years ago. And this is to do with her mum, because her mum escaped, tried to take Lucy with her and everything like that. And then we start, like, she remembers like her mum and everything like that. Because there's also like a little table where Modrine's eating and there's like a ghoul tied up, like a feral ghoul that's really fucked up. Turns out that's her mum. Yeah. And I was like, that's really kind of messed up just to have like that there. There's like a whole backstory with obviously Hank's character, her father, going on. While all at the same time while this is going on, her brother actually finds out what's going on with the vaults and everything. So he actually goes to Vault 31 and finds Bud, who is now just a brain in a jar in a little robot machine. And then he finds all the people in cryo being like, oh, these are the people from Vault Tech that were friends of Bud, or Bud's Buds. That's right. Bud's Buds.
Yeah.
And then also we find out the chairman meeting of what was going on when they made the plans for all the vaults and what the experiments they would be doing to one another or to the people and the citizens and everything like that. And it all comes together type thing. And then while the Brotherhood of Steel is coming down, they're attacking. So many people died.
Everyone died.
Both sides. On both sides as well.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, so
like I was not expecting like that about a level. I was like, wow, that's like everyone. During all this, like Lucy's kind of like, do I side with my father? Do I not? Type thing. And then
you don't know.
That's a big no type thing. Like, no, I ain't giving you the thing or whatever. Moldu gets the power up and running. Or gets the little core. It starts going. What else happens towards the end there? Basically, Lucy. No, that's right. Magnus comes in, tries to protect Lucy, and then she's like,
Maximus.
"This is my father. He's a same thing." Can we call him Magnus from now on? Season 2.
We're calling him Magnus from now on.
We start writing it. Magnus from now on. Basically, he comes in, gets knocked out by her dad, and then she tries to like shoot him almost. And then the ghoul rocks up, and being the ghoul's just like, I remember you, because actually we do a flashback as to when Hank was still alive and when he met Cooper Howard back in the old days, being like, oh, you're the fan. It was also cool. There was a little moment where the ghoul took down 3 power armor guys, just like with a single gun, essentially. He's like, there's a weak spot in there, in the welding type thing. Because obviously he was a veteran back during the Great War type thing, and everything. So that was the thing. Her dad escapes, and then Lucy's just like, what do we do now type thing. And then she goes off with the ghoul and everything like that. Moldova puts the power on. Most of California lights up. The Brotherhood of Steel are like winning this fight because of Maximus. He's like becoming their new leader in a way, because like one of them's like, you killed their leader, now you're our leader. Blah, 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 blah. Which leads over to the greatest moment of the show, and I just was so excited when I saw it. The end credit scene of this episode is Hank overseeing New Vegas, basically in the distance, and I was like, holy shit.
We're going to New Vegas, which is amazing, because
we're going to New Vegas
after the events of New Vegas, I think.
Yes, it is.
Which is crazy to see, considering we don't know anything that happens after New Vegas.
Yep.
And which I think is still set before Fallout 4 and 3, but they're on the other side of the country, so it doesn't matter. But like, it's going to be crazy to see what they do, considering like New Vegas has like 6 different endings. So I'm unsure if they're going to canonize
So which one are they taking into canon?
Work around it. I don't know.
Apparently, I'm just reading now, they have confirmed New Vegas's timeline. I'm It's a whole video.
Do you think we'll see the courier
Um,
or
could.
in it? That could be very cool. Or even hear about it.
Yeah, because basically in the timeline of it is like you got Fallout 76, Fallout,
Yeah.
Fallout 2,
Yep.
Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, then Fallout 4, and then Fallout TV show.
Okay.
Which is based, yeah. So the TV series is 2296 to 2297. New Vegas was 2281.
Oh, okay. So good.
So that's
10
almost
years
like a good, yeah. And yeah,
Okay.
Fallout 4 was
Alright.
2287.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I'm so excited to see what they do next in the show. Considering we already know the second season's in the works. And hopefully that's
Yes.
just as good because more of this would be very much appreciated.
Yep.
So
yep.
yeah,
Well, that's because a lot of people, I know the reason why like it's not reaching a lot of fans like this is the best thing ever is because there is some discrepancies between the timelines of things, and the show hasn't made like a definite like, oh, this is like all the events that happen. Like they haven't made their own timeline yet.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are still waiting to see like, are they not saying anything because of like that might to do with the show itself or Fallout 5, because Fallout 5 is being made as well at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man.
I'm
All
just
that
trying to read
stuff's
an
a bit
IGN
nitpicky.
article right now, being like, where does it fit in the timeline of things and everything? 'Cause apparently it's been
no.
confirmed by Todd Howard, because Todd Howard like was one of the executive producers behind this. They had to get his like go ahead with a lot of the story elements to this show, which is good because it's actually like, oh,
In
you
a
actually
way.
got like the guy that knows about Fallout and everything like
Yeah,
that.
but it's
to be
Todd
like,
Howard.
choosing. Yeah.
I don't
But like
know.
still, I was surprised by like obviously how well this show was. Like a lot of people were not expecting this show to be as good as it was. And this is the thing
I
as well.
wasn't
This is such a
expecting it to be
credit.
good at all. Yeah.
Yeah, this is such a credit now because you see something like Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 are the highest peak they have ever been
Yeah,
this
I
week
saw that.
because of the show, which was like, what?
Crazy.
Like I was not expecting that.
Insane.
Like Fallout 4 has gone up player count, something like 3,700% player count.
Wow.
I was like, wow. Like
Crazy.
there is consecutively like almost like 300,000 people playing consecutively and everything.
Yeah, wow.
If you go into like Steam stats right now, everyone's probably just playing all the Fallout games. Which I'm just gonna see if I can. It is public. Let's see what's happening.
While Barry's looking at that, yeah, definitely. This show, we will hop over to final thoughts and ratings because we both loved it. We both enjoyed it very much. Especially if you played the games and you haven't checked out this show for some reason, you definitely should. It's so faithful to everything that you'll know and love. But even if you haven't played the game or any of the games, it's still a fun show. There is a little bit of a learning curve to get into it, but once you do, it's so much fun. The show is, start to finish, pure entertainment. And yeah, so I guess I can give my rating while Barry's
Go for it,
looking at
buddy.
numbers. I am sitting on an 8.5 out of 10 for this one.
Yep.
Which is very high praise. There's obviously some things not quite there. Story lacking in a little bit. CGI had its ups and downs. But I feel like if the second season really hits home, it could just easily improve on that. It's a hell of a first season for a starting point. And as video game adaptations go, like an 8.5 is unheard of. So
like this is absolutely amazing. Like what we said at the beginning of this episode was like, this to me is probably almost the best video game to live action adaptation we have gotten thus far.
It's definitely up there.
This is only the first season of this, which is insane. So currently around 141,000 people are consecutively playing Fallout 4 right now.
That's really good. That's crazy.
And what? That's like almost a 10-year-old game now.
Yeah,
it is a 10-year-old game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, there are about over the past week, over 1 million people have been playing consecutively. So I was like,
nice.
Damn, that is such a big. Yeah. So this game, this
You
this
did it
show,
again.
it did it again. Doesn't because it's just so much like the game and everything. Like I wanted out of like more Fallout because I do enjoy Fallout. I enjoyed all its
Yeah.
lore, all its wackiness and everything like that. And I
fun.
even like told you like what last year I had a idea for a show that I wanted to do that was kind of like based upon like Fallout and everything like that. And it's like this is it. They have done exactly
it.
what I wanted them to
Yeah.
do and everything like that. Obviously, yeah, there are a few errors with like visual effects side. That's all right because like it is a show. They didn't have like a massive amount of budget with it all and
No.
everything like that. Still a decent amount. But
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
it was like showable and everything like that. I wasn't saying like it's absolutely horrible. Like I can't. I'm just disgusted by it. But I got by like even with the water creature and everything like that. That was so well done. Like all the water physics
was
of that
really
scene
cool.
was just like
Yeah.
holy shit. And like from an animator's perspective, trying to do a realistic water animatronic, it's a pain in the butt, and they did it amazingly. Type thing. And yeah, just everything down from the characters. I feel like it's very much like this is like the characters you would meet in Fallout, in the world of Fallout, with Lucy, with Maximus. Obviously, yeah, the one exception is the Ghoul, but he's just cool because he's basically Clint Eastwood in the Wasteland. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And then they gave him a whole backstory to this character as well, which is integral to the whole plot behind.
You got even
Fallout.
more interesting through the backstory stuff.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Which was just like, wow, I was not expecting that with all that, and that he was the representative for Vault Tech, and he's the reason why we have like the Vault Boy and everything like that. Actually giving origin story to the Vault Boy, the thumbs up and all the actions that he does in your little ID things. And it's like, wow, they've gone into so much detail about everything for it. And I absolutely adore the show. Like I've watched it twice over the past week. That I don't do that normally with shows. That is, I think, the first ever show where I have watched it twice in 1 week.
Yeah,
because of like
I'm definitely
how well
not going to do that. That's crazy. Oh man.
So yeah, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I adored the show so much. I cannot wait for season 2. I am so happy they confirmed for a season 2. It's going to be interesting to see like how many seasons they do because they have been told by Todd Howard they can't like do things that are already happening on Fallout 5 because they've already or they're working on Fallout 5 as we speak type thing, even though it's not like 6-8 years away or something like that. He's like, you can't spoil what we're doing for that as well. So because apparently that when what's his name, Christopher Nolan's brother, it's like writing it all. Is it his brother? Is it his brother?
I don't know.
I feel like it's.
I don't know where you're on. Jonathan Nolan, Jimmy Nolan.
Jonathan Nolan.
Was that correct? I was spouting a name there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
No, it's Jonathan Nolan. Because he's the guy that did Westworld, and that's like he did the first season. Yeah, no, it is his brother. Yeah, Jonathan Nolan. So that's also another thing. Like, have one of the best writers like throughout, because this is the guy that wrote Dark Knight. This is the guy that wrote Interstellar. Yeah, like, and he did all this, and like he was also a fan of the show, and I think you can really see that come through. With the show, like they just understand how the world works. They haven't tried to change it with a lot of video game adaptation try to do. They haven't tried to do their own thing with it. That is like, no, this is Fallout. This is how it works. This is how we're going to make the show, and that is why I love each and every single second of it. Can't wait for season 2. Hopefully, it will be better. Which, knowing the way direction they're going, it probably will be. They'll probably even get a bigger budget as well. And we find out more backstory behind everything because they still didn't like reveal everything behind like Walter Goggins' character as well, which was nice. Like we don't know how he got turned into the Ghoul just quite yet. Obviously that will be touched on a little bit later because he's trying to find his family and everything like that. That's the reason why he's been around for the past 200 years still. We got to find out more between Lucy's dad behind the origin story of that, and all the
definitely
things.
A lot that they can do with this show. So yeah, the fact you give it a 9 out of 10, and we expect it to get better is great. I love that. But yeah, that brings us to the end of Fallout. I suppose we can briefly touch on the latest from the Bad Batch and X-Men 97 before we say goodbye.
Bad Batch.
Oh, nice. Get a little half a second spiel, whatever that was.
No, you have half a second to reveal Bad Batch because I wasn't very happy with this week's episode, if I'm being honest. Like, it was still good, but yeah.
It was boring. As a start for the finale, it was pretty boring. They snuck into a facility.
Yep.
They
Yep.
know the coordinates to Tantus now. We got to see
Yep.
like the inside look at the Star Destroyer Coruscant base stuff looked really cool from an animation perspective. Everything looks cool. They have black armor
But
now.
it was just so boring. It was so boring.
I don't know how they could
I
blend
was like,
in with their
that was an
armor looking
episode.
the same. Yeah. Oh, and also there was the kids are on Tantus again. Okay, and that's it. That's all that happens.
Yep.
Cool. That was boring. X-Men 97, on the other hand, continuing strong. We get half a second of that as well.
You get half a second of that.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, okay. So this is Life Death Part 2, continuing the Storm and Forge stuff that we got before they killed everyone's favorite characters. Very cool. Very horror vibes. Again, with the adversary villain. So cool. The show's still very fast paced, but that is that's the 90s show. So you gotta take it with that as it is.
Yeah. And then we also get revealed in this episode, which was just like, they've already brought him back. Professor Xavier is not dead. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Good old Charles. Good old Chuck. Good old Chuck, as Logan calls him.
Well, in the end of the original show, I think revealed that he was with the Shi'ar, the bird people in space.
I can't remember. That was 20 years ago.
Because I knew that he was alive, and I remember that being a thing. It was a thing in the comics, definitely, but I think the show did give that away at the end. But the X-Men
got to see Ronan, the Accuser. That was pretty cool. I was like, Ronan that's cool.
And we got to see a whole bunch of characters that no one could ever name correctly. We see Gladiator, Lilandra, Deathbird, like Vulcan, several others that even I can't name. Like, we're going really deep dive into the X-Men stuff, and we see quite a few of these characters in the original show. The Phoenix Saga was a big thing that touched on a lot of these guys. But my God, I feel bad for anyone who hasn't seen that show watching this episode because you're like, what the hell is all of this? Because it's a lot.
Like so much going on.
It is, but it's great because I know what's going on for the most part. It's X-Men. You can't really know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
They're
always doing some weird, wacky stuff going on.
They always are. And that's episode 6. So we've got 4 more episodes. It's still consistently good. I still want more.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
X-Men 97, keep doing what you're doing. We'll touch on it again.
Keep doing what you're doing. And especially when the directors have said that what happened in last week's episode. Spoilers, go back and watch last week's episode of the podcast to find out what happened. If not, go watch the show. Type thing. But yeah, the directors have said that was nothing. Compared to what we're doing for part 1 and part 2 at the end. I was like, oh, okay, what are you doing?
I love it. Good.
Yeah.
Do more. Do more like that.
Do more.
The Bad Batch should be doing what this show's doing and kill off its characters.
Yeah. I exactly. This week's episode, The Bad Batch, I was like, was that even an episode? We've only got 2 episodes left, right? We've only got 2 episodes left for The Bad Batch. I'm just like, is one of them going to be a feature-length movie now? Because they have to do so much stuff, or they're just being like, oh no, this is only part 1 of the final season. Which they better not pull that stunt.
There's no way they'd do that, right?
There's other companies that have done it. So
if you're predicting that they're that's it, because the whole thing is that this is the end, right? If they come out with this is part 1,
final season part 1. Because that's the thing, 2 episodes. I'm just they need to be so impactful in the final 2 episodes. On what needs to happen.
You're right.
I'm still waiting for the announcement that they are going to be doing a spin-off show from Bad Batch if this doesn't end in the way that it is ending.
They're going to do that anyway. It's going to be another one.
Yeah, but I still just wanted to be no, this ends the Clone Wars, ends the Bad Batch. This is it now. Go do something else.
I hope. I don't know.
I hope so. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see. But anyway, I guess that brings us to the end of another episode of the podcast.
Yes, it does. So thanks for coming out, everyone. We're always here talking about films, lots of TV shows at the moment. Hopefully, we'll get back to talking films very soon. But if not, go watch Fallout. It is amazing. Yeah. I loved it. Everyone loves it. Go watch it, then go play the video games. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Bye-bye. I'm trying to think of something funny to end the episode, but I just can't. So, bye-bye.
Comedy.
Yeah. Landed on comedy.
Yeah.